Hello everyone, it's Colteor here, back with yet another really exciting CI6 round 4 matchup here. We've got Johnnyg2 versus Gorgie, and these guys are in the upper brackets. They're going to be fighting for the coveted 3-0 record, which will guarantee them a top 8 finish at minimum, and potentially even further. It's a really exciting matchup. We've got Johnny, very consistent guy, builds his own teams, does well in SBL, CI, obviously. Pretty much every tour he enters. And we've got Gorgie as his opponent, known for, known for bringing heat, is probably the best way to put it. He definitely brings cool teams with techs not many other people would think of, and sometimes they look crazy, but hey, they evidently work because they've gotten him all the way to here. Round 3, undefeated. These guys are both going to be playing to their best, so let's see what happens. We've got a lead matchup here, Snorlax versus Snorlax on the other side. Unknown what sets they could be. Well, Johnny's his counter, we know that much. Gorgie opts to switch out to his Registeel, which is going to curse up and actually take basically nothing from that double edge, despite it being stabbed from a likely max adamant Snorlax. And we are going to see Focus Punch, so he does have something a little better to hit the Registeel with. Although, at +2 defense, yeah, that's not very exciting. 28%, it might break through with a crit, but if the Registeel has rest, it might just do nothing. Remains to be seen if Johnny has something like a Mag, that could be good here, unless Gorgie's packing Earthquake as his coverage move, which very possibly is. Well, he's packing Superpower, we know that much, and that is going to cleanly one-shot the Lax at +3. So, Registeel, slow, yeah, but against this meta, it's probably going to be able to get another kill. Curses again on what looks like a Choice Band Earthquake, with how it's still doing 32 with that much defense. However, Gorgie is going to switch out, even though he would have lived the next Earthquake. Maybe he doesn't have rest, or he didn't want to risk a crit or something. Maybe he just can't touch the meta very well. Either way, he has his reasons. He goes to Ments, gonna Hidden Power, likely flying as the doll comes in. And we do see Protect to scout the Ice Beam. That is 2 unorthodox plays simultaneously there, folks. Gonna see a double here. Johnny trying to go to meta to get some momentum going. Gorgie reveals his Suicune. And both are going to deal 33%, but for meta that probably means it's Choice Band, especially because it doesn't have leftovers. And we are going to see a better Suicune check now that Snorlax is down. We're going to see Gyarados from Johnny. It is leftovers, not Asta's patented CB set. And it's going to double edge into that Ments for fucking nothing. 19%? That's got to be the most bold Ments of all time. I guess impish with physical attacks, but still. So yeah, knowing that, this meta is going to be very safe to come in on it. Won't fear toxic or anything, certainly. And we do see a double back to Claydol. Even with Protect, the Ments is going to be scared out because, well, it'll still take a lot from Ice Beam and it can't actually kill the doll in return. So Gorgie reveals his Fortress. Interesting choice there. Last probably Suit-Tire then? Most of his team hates sand though, so I wouldn't be surprised to see something like an Umbreon or a Houndoom instead. And we do see the raw Earthquake from Gorgie, likely expecting Mag, but it hits Tire instead. Tire without lefties, and given the rest of Johnny's team, I'd say it's probably DD. Hidden Power only doing 6% to Registeel. I want to say that's Grass, but did not hit the Coon or anything even remotely weak to it. And given that the tires revealed Fire Blast, I'd say it's definitely Grass, so could be looking at a mixed tire here. Either way, Ments is not going to be able to take it out, so it goes back to Coon to try and wall it. Well, Johnny goes to Claydol. He's going to maybe try and threaten an explosion on the Coon, or just try and get a double going. He does get a double in. He gets Gyarados in on the Fori. However, with how healthy it is, it can definitely just spike up and boom if it really wants. And we see the last from Gorgie is in fact not a Pursuiter. It's P2. I guess that'll help trap opposing Mags or opposing Dugs, so the Registeel can sweep easier, sure. It is going to give free entry to the CB meta though, who gets a big Earthquake off in the Fori. And Fori is just going to Earthquake again. Gorgie keeps trying to snipe the last, which could certainly be a Mag, and it could be something like another DDer or a Celebi or a Water even. Could be a lot. Gonna have a bit of a war here between the Claydol and the Fortress. Remains to be seen if it has HP Bug. It does. However, Doll is still healthy enough it could spin away that one spike if it wants to. Or just keep going for Earthquake. It seems like Johnny really wants chip on this thing. Maybe for his Gyarados. This is a tough matchup for Johnny, honestly. Between the Fori and the Suicune and the P2 Wishmints, he's going to have a really tough time breaking through here. He does go for Boom to try and get the Fori out of the way totally, but it lives on 1%. However, Pursuit is actually going to take it out here. So it is just a Pursuit tire, not a mixed tire. Maybe Pursuit with Lum, that's why it doesn't have lefties. Or even black glasses, I suppose. Suicune's going to come in, and it is going to be walled by the Gyara, but in sand it'll take the chip, and Gyarados can pretty easily be walled by either the Ments or the P2 here. Especially because P2 is at full, so yeah. Unless the Gyarados like crits double edge right here or something, it is not going to be breaking through, so it remains to be seen what Johnny's going to do. Double edge, yeah, a crit wouldn't even have been enough, and it's going to get T-Waved for its efforts, which is at least slightly better than getting T-bolted and just dying, but still not a good look for Johnny. P2 is going to recover as Gyarados actually full paras. A little bad luck for Johnny, but it was likely going to happen eventually. Ice Beam. So I guess the P2 just doesn't have Thunderbolt. Maybe it dropped it for so it could fit Thunderwave and a status, or Thunderwave and HP fighting. You see that sometimes. Gorgie is going to go to his Registeel here on the double edge. He will be faster with... No, he's actually slower, even with the para, because of the DD boosts. And he is just going to die to Earthquake. Not entirely sure why he did that. Maybe he was scared of a crit on the P2. I feel like you can just stay in and hit it there pretty safely. Wow, the paralyzed... Wow, even paralyzed, the Gyarados was still faster than the P2 there at +2. And the Metagross is also going to be faster, so P2 is down. Just like that, it actually might be... Johnny might be able to pull through here. He's still got Meta, which could boom on something and simplify the game a little more. He's got Salamence here, which, if this is Mono Surf Suicune, certainly is not going to be doing much before it gets a ton of CM boosts. There is the matter of this bold Salamence, who's going to take a measly 22 from Hidden Power Flying after Intimidate. And we are going to see Johnny go to Tire to try and combat it. Gorgie goes to Snorlax, and if this Snorlax is cursed, it could also get annoying. However, Gorgie doesn't even chance it, just goes straight to Coon on the Crunch. This is close, but I think Gorgie's going to be able to take it. Depends exactly how Johnny plays it, I suppose. Well, here comes Salamence, and even if Suicune wanted to try and brawl, it doesn't. Salamence doesn't even have to DD to get the KO at this point. He is going to Dragon Dance and the switch to Gorgie, With how much defense that Ments have, it may live Rock Slide from this range, but it also may not. Johnny's gonna go for it, and it definitely eats. It gets only does 41%, but it gets a flinch. And just like that, it looks really good for Johnny. Snorlax can technically check this Ments, but it's going to have to boom if it actually wants to stop the sweep, or pull some Intimidate mind games. Do see Gorgie going back to Ments on what is a 8 hidden power flying turn, so good for Gorgie there. If the Snorlax is something like Curse Rest, it could still certainly pull through here. Gonna see a Rock Slide from Johnny as Gorgie actually just goes for Earthquake. Over prediction there, and he could certainly end up losing those Ments. We do see a meta switch now, though, on the Body Slam, which it is barely going to survive. Johnny hanging on by a thread here. And now it's you just Earthquake, right? Yeah, it kills the Coon. You're going to force damage on the Lax as well. And I think Johnny's actually won this. I think between the Earthquake and the Hidden Power Flying, Lax cannot survive. And doesn't even survive the Earthquake. Jesus. What a close game, folks. I really thought Gorgie had it there when it was 3v3, but no, or when it was 2v3 even, when the tire was down and it was just CB Meta and Salamence versus Wishmint, Suicune, and Snorlax. Gorgie just... I don't think Gorgie even played that wrong. I think Johnny just really made the right moves with his pieces there to break through at the very end. So that was impressive, folks. Enough of me rambling at 10 a.m. though. Here is game 2. We've got another mirror match in the lead slot. We've got Salamence versus Salamence. And doubles out to 2 special walls, but of very different paces. Johnny goes to Bliss. Jesus Christ. Johnny goes to Bliss, Gorgie goes to Lax, and we double out again to Skarmory on Medi. Medi gets an instant crit Brick Break, so Johnny will be losing his Skyrim on turn 4, playing without spikes. Pretty tough. He does get his Mix Ments in afterwards, gets a big Fire Blast off onto Gorgie's Jirachi. 48%. It'll have to switch out here, right? Or at least protect for healing. Yeah. Johnny does get his tar in on the Ments. Remains to be seen if it has Ice Beam or anything. Well, we'd see it's double fighter for Gorgie, actually. And Johnny similarly reveals his second fighting resist. He's got a doll, which could certainly threaten Boom or anything. Does just Earthquake as Gorgie reveals another Pursuitless Fortress. Very untypical 4 team. You don't see 4 double fighter very often, but that's what you have to expect from Gorgie. He is going to spike up as we see a bit of a repeat from last game with this Claydol war against the Fortress. However, this time Hidden Power is doing way less. I'd say that might be HP Ghost, just based on how much less it's doing than HP Bug was last game. And Doll might actually win this 1v1 if... Yeah, it will actually win the 1v1. And if Ments comes in, it'll get to spin. Or just try and pivot and get something else going for his offense. Well, Johnny reveals his second Ice Beam doll, so he does not go for the spin. With the Intimidate, his Earthquakes are going to be doing way less, though, so he does actually have to switch out of the 4 here. And yeah, the Hidden Power is resisted by Tar, so it was HP Ghost all along. Let's see what the Tar can do here. It might provide entry for one of the fighters, which could be dangerous if they get a prediction right. Gorgie is going to go for Machamp, who usually runs some bulk up, cross chop, rock slide, hidden power set. Fire Blast going to do a pathetic 25. That's got to be at least a little bulk on that Machamp. And Champ does go for bulk up. Bulk up again. Johnny can't even, or no, not bulk up again, Fire Blast again. Johnny definitely doesn't want to burn there because that would activate Guts. Not sure I get this. He goes to, wait, he goes to Blissey, but it's faster. Is it going to have 2-wave or something to try and incapacitate it? Nope. Just Seismic tosses as it gets demolished by Cross Chop, so either a really slow Machamp or a really fast Blissey there, I'm not sure. Either way, if it was slower than Bliss, it's definitely going to be slower than Meta, who gets an attack raise on the way out, which, well, would look a little dangerous if there wasn't this giant Metacham here to get some chip on it. Brick Break does 48 or 58 in one go. However, Metagross does get an agility off. At +1, I think that'll be enough to OHKO the Metacham. And oh my god, it gets another boost as Gorgie sacks his Fortress. This could be a wrap. This could be a 2-0 for Johnny, folks. At +2, even the Salamence will likely die. Oh, it'll definitely die to Rock Slide. Gorgie's only out here is going to be a timely Meteor Mash dodge. He goes to Snorlax to try and get exactly that and KO with Earthquake. Against a +2/+2 meta. Oh, he barely lives, but he goes for Body Slam. Does he get the parry? He does. I don't know if he'll be faster or not. Well, it doesn't matter because he dies to Sand. Now, I can tell you the Metacham will certainly be faster. However, Shadow Ball is not going to be enough. It doesn't kill, and Earthquake is going to kill. And I'd say that's game, folks. We've only got a 50% Jirachi left versus Claydol and Ments. Unless Gorgie gets maybe some Fire Blast dodges from Salamence, or somehow Pee-Pee stalls it. It's looking over. They also might need to burn this Claydol to actually not die to repeated Earthquakes. So, not to call a game too early, folks, but I'd say unless Johnny gets pretty unlucky, he's made it. Do see... Oh, and I forgot Johnny also has Ice Beam, so he can threaten to freeze the Jirachi if he really wants. It is technically a better chance of breaking through than Earthquake. 10% versus 6%. However, obviously, if Gorgie doesn't wish and instead goes for a Fire Punch burn, you'd much rather click Earthquake. Like right there, actually. Well, the Fire Punch does burn, so maybe Ice Beam was the better move all along. However, now the doll is not going to be passively healing. In fact, it's going to be passively getting weaker. It's still hard not to like Johnny's position here. He does keep going for the Earthquakes, even though he's burned. I really think a freeze is the better play here. Johnny sees it differently, though. He goes for Earthquake again. Only dealing 20%, so the Rachi doesn't even have to protect after these. And he booms on the way out for not much damage, but he... Well, no, he doesn't even prevent Jirachi from getting a wish, because it was already on a wish turn. Fire Blast, and the Ments only has 6 of these, so even though they will each deal a hefty chunk, Jirachi can technically just wish protect all of them. Johnny will have to get cute with, things like that, going for Rock Slide. However, turns out that would have been a turn to use Fire Blast, as Jirachi didn't protect. And now we're right back to where we started, except Ments is paralyzed. He gets crit full parried on the following turn. Folks, Gorgie did manage to turn that around. Johnny... Damn. Close game, and honestly a really hacksy game with the crit on the Skyrim, the meta raises, and Jirachi beating Claydol Salamence in the end game somehow. Really close. Damn. Well, we are going to get a game 3 after that hacksy game 2 resulted in Gorgie's victory. And the winner of this set will be 3-0 in CI6 and move on to top 8. So let's see who it is. We got Fortress Lead versus Salamence. Finally, not a mere match. Neither of them like the matchup. We're going to see Milo versus Suicune. Suicune gets out of the way as Milo reveals Hypnosis, which would have been big if it hit the Snorlax, but it didn't. And then Snorlax gonna body slam as the Fori comes in. Are we gonna see fire? We don't. It just goes to Ments as Fori gets a spike up. Fine plays from both. And we see another back to Lax as Johnny goes to Milo. Remains to be seen if he has another Lax answer. This tire certainly could do it, but if it's Pursuit like it usually is with Fori, then it won't have a great move for Lax. Brick Break would probably be the best he can get. Counter is actually the best he can get. If Johnny had read that right and the Snorlax did Earthquake there, it would have done a ton. However, no dice. And we see a ballsy roar from Johnny on the Ice Beam, trying to get a little more information on Gorgie's team. Doesn't quite work out, even though he's not punished with Surf. Just reveals the Ments. And he does not roar again on the Salamence. He just goes back to Milo. The Suicune is Ice Beam, so it's a little unlikely it's Rest. But remains to be seen. And if it's not Rest, it's certainly doesn't want to be taking that sleep. Lax also doesn't want to take the sleep very much, but it misses Hypnosis again, so good for Gorgie there. Body Slam, and Fori is going to get parried here. Johnny doesn't go back to his counter roar tar. And Fori going to get full parried, so we don't know if he could have predicted the Mag and went for Earthquake or not, or if he was just planning on spiking again. Either way, Hidden Power is going to do 91 on another full para, which could have very easily been an Earthquake that KO'd the Mag, especially with that spike. Johnny says, "Ah man," in the chat, so yeah, it probably was an Earthquake turn. That's unfortunate. Are going to see Johnny having to go to Blissey to answer that Mag. And we don't see a T-Wave or anything to punish that Lax on the way in. Although between the spikes and sand, it is getting worn down over time. It's at 49%, even though it hasn't taken a big hit yet. And Gorgie reveals Rest as the Gengar comes in, so a big hit's certainly going to be necessary, because Rest will heal off that Spikes chip easy peasy. Johnny's Roar Tire could come into play here, however, Gorgie makes a good double go to his own meta predicting that. And meta could be scary if the only steel resist left is Milo. Vulnerable to raises, crits, all that sort of stuff. However, it could just as easily wall the meta all game, especially without spikes. And we do see Rest on the Suicune. So, well, it remains to be seen if it's Sleep Talk or not, but I very much doubt that. Gorgie with the double Rest core is certainly well prepped into Hypno Milo. And yes, Suicune stays asleep. Looks like it doesn't have Rest Talk. It's not some crazy mono ice set. Johnny gonna reveal his own meta. Gorgie still has an unknown in the back that could be quite a few pokes, honestly. Neither of them like the Metagross on Metagross matchup, so they're gonna switch out. Johnny gets the better end of this one though. Milo on Salamence. Gonna speed it up a little here, folks. And Johnny's just gonna surf into the Suicune, sure. Gengar and Metagross could be a good way to break through for Johnny, but I don't know, the game's definitely too close to call at this point. Gorgie is technically ahead with the 6-5 advantage. Well, that's a big turn. Metagross is going to come in on a Wisp. However, it is mixed meta actually, so it's not as important, but it's still big because it means this Boom will do an absolute pittance to Milo if it wants to go to that. Pursuit meta Also only doing 54 to Gar, so it's certainly not dead. Gorgie just wakes up, goes for the raw Ice Beam, doesn't rest again, and gets hit with Hypnosis. So this Suicune is actually might be forced out at a pretty low percent here, which, yeah, forced out at 53 is not great, and Mag's easily going to be 2-hit KO'd by T-Bolt here, or T-Bolt, Seismic Toss. Salamence comes in, which, I mean, that's obviously not good. It's just going to get Ice Beamed, right? If Johnny has a status or something, he could go for that. However, he may not have Ice Beam, or may have just wanted to double something in, but the Mence reveals Wish, which is going to heal up that Suicune and negate the progress Johnny got by putting it to sleep earlier. So, well played by Gorgie, I suppose. Did manage to get his Suicune healed up, and now it's in front of the Blissey. It woke up and just clicked rest again to try and stay healthy. Sure. And obviously now that he's on his own terms of sleep, he can predict when he's going to wake up instead of relying on RNG. And we see Johnny has his own wish for the Gengar, so all the pursuit chip that Meta got earlier is gone, but Meta's still burned, obviously, so Johnny's still got something out of that interaction for himself. Do some doubling. Gorgie trying to get his Metagross, or his Snorlax in to wake it up. We see it also lacks Sleep Talk. Johnny just gonna click Earthquake, and that's definitely not CB damage. See a raw Surf from the Suicune trying to catch maybe the Tar or the Meta staying in. We do see CM as Blissey just Seismic tosses again. If Suicune wants to rest, it could just stall the Blissey out of Seismic tosses. However, because it's not Sleep Talk, it's just Ice Beam, Rest, Surf, it can get roared out by Johnny's Tar here. I don't know if I've mentioned it yet, but the last moves on Johnny's Tar are probably not physical moves, probably just Crunch Pursuit. And there's Crunch. Gets a lucky Spadef drop as Snorlax tries to burn a Sleep Turn. Oh, it does have Sleep Talk, he just wasn't clicking it earlier to try and preserve Sleep Turns. He's going to wake up here as Johnny gets another Spadef drop. Going to be forced out here for sure. But Snorlax will be at full even if it hasn't burned any Sleep Turns. Crunch will actually 2-hit KO the Salamence from here. And even if it gets a Wish off, it'll die. So yeah, Johnny's evened it up actually, 5-5. Still a pretty close game. Johnny still, or Gorgie still hasn't revealed his last poke. Gorgie gets a Wish off to his Magneton. Sure, I guess it'll check Gar a little better now if you need that. Snorlax gonna come in on Blissey. It'll certainly be able to burn all its Sleep Turns here if it wants to. No point in Sleep Talking into the Gar, so he doesn't. Last move on the Snorlax just has to be Curse, I imagine, right? Body Slam, Rest, Curse. Oh, well, if it is, then Johnny's got the right set for the job. He's got Taunt Gengar, and Gorgie reveals his last to be Dugtrio, so he is running a double trap team for his double... What the fuck? Okay. Gorgie running a double trap team to support his bulky setup threats. Dugtrio pursuing the Gengar for 24. That's big chip, folks. I suppose with the Pursuit meta plus Pursuit Doug, it's enough? Maybe? It's not even enough. That wouldn't even KO it from full. I don't know. Pursuit Dugtrio, eh? Maybe there's a... I don't know, does the fucking Magneton have Pursuit as well? I think it would actually use that if it got it, so probably not. Either way, we're gonna get some switching later. Gorgie does end up with a full health Suicune boosted in against Johnny's Blissey. Suicune's still quite a threat if it gets a couple freezes or a crit. We got a freeze there, but Bliss instantly thawed. Johnny's best counterplay to it are all Doug vulnerable pokes with the Roar Tire, the Meta, and the Blissey. The Tyranitar obviously can't Oko the Doug as well, but with a few spikes chip, it could be put in pursuit or in crunch range. Snorlax gonna come in on the tire and does well, I was gonna say it'll get a rest opportunity here, but he actually switches out at 41%, so maybe not. And he surfs again. He's Gorgie playing really aggressively, but Johnny's making the right moves against that. He just roars the Suicune out before it rests. One double later, though, and Gorgie does get the Doug Trio in. However, it will not KO the Blissey. Blissey at 7%, though, so it's not going to be walling much. And yeah, it just dies to a Magneton T-Bolt. Mag gonna... Oh my god. That is a big crit and a full parrot and a parrot to boot. So Johnny's meta is suddenly out of commission. Gorgie getting a 2 for 2 basically with his trappers. Or I guess 2 for 3 if we count the Magneton killing Fori earlier. Meta gets a mash raise, but with the burn, it's still going to do nothing to Milo, especially because it probably doesn't have many attack EVs. And after Meta dies to its burn, we are going to see a 2 to 3 for Johnny. Gorgie still refusing to rest, though, with the Suicune, as it's just going to die to T-Bolt. And with the taunt Gengar walling the Lax, I'd say it's over. He just taunts here, prevents the rest. And yeah, I don't think there's anything Gorgie can do unless he pulls 5th move Shadow Ball out of his ass. And he doesn't. So really close game, folks. Almost ended in Gorgie almost got there with the Suicune quite a few times, but the Roar Tyranitar and the Taunt Gengar really pulled through for Johnny. Those were both absolutely huge in this matchup. And it still could have gone either way, even with those two. If Suicune just got going and he managed to Doug the Tar just a few different turns, then this set probably would have gone the other way, folks. So yeah, that was a really interesting set between two really closely skilled players. That was good fun to narrate, folks. I hope you all had as good of a time as I did, and I will see you later.